Hey there, fellow deep divers. Ready for another deep dive? But before we jump in, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on more mind-bending deep dives just like this one.
Sounds good.
Okay, let's get started. Today we're going to be exploring a topic that might sound like it's straight out of science fiction, but actually has roots that go back centuries.
Intriguing.
We're talking about the idea of creating artificial beings and the questions it raises about what it means to be human.
I'm listening.
Specifically, we're diving deep into sources about the Golem, a figure from Jewish folklore,
Okay.
and how it connects to the cutting edge of AI.
That's a fascinating combination. I'm ready to dive in.
You're ready to explore the power of language, to literally bring things to life, and the potential dangers of creations surpassing their creators. It's a story that resonates more than ever in our age of increasingly sophisticated AI.
It sounds like we're about to unpack some serious philosophical and technological baggage. I'm all for it.
Okay, so we've got stacks of sources here. Academic articles, folklore, pop culture references.
Wow, we're really going all in on this one, huh?
And they all point to this uncanny connection between the Golem and AI. Ready to unpack this?
Absolutely. Where should we start?
Well, I think it's crucial to start by understanding the Golem itself. This wasn't just some random monster. It was a creature intentionally created, often with a specific purpose in mind.
So like a super-powered clay robot built to protect the community? I'm already intrigued.
Yeah. Our sources place the Golem's origins in 16th century Prague, created by Rabbi Lo ben Betzalel,
Hmm.
also known as the Maharal, a prominent figure in Jewish mysticism.
Okay, a mystical rabbi creating a creature out of clay. Sounds intriguing, but why? What was the motivation?
Well, the stories offer various reasons,
Oh.
but a common thread is the need to defend the Jewish community from anti-Semitic threats.
I see. So a powerful guardian brought to life to protect the vulnerable makes sense. But how exactly was this golem brought to life? Was it some kind of ancient technology we haven't discovered yet?
That's where it gets really interesting. The Golem wasn't animated through technology as we understand it.
Really? How then?
It was animated through the power of language,
The language.
specifically Hebrew letters,
Hmm?
and the word emet, meaning truth. This word was either inscribed on the Golem's forehead or placed in its mouth, and it was believed to be the animating force.
Wait, so words literally brought this creature to life. That's incredible. It's almost like coding in a way, isn't it? The right combination of letters awakening a dormant power within the clay.
You got it. Just like code dictates the actions of a computer program. Those Hebrew letters were thought to hold the key to activating the Golem's potential. It highlights the power of language as a creative force, a concept that resonates deeply with how we use language to shape and control AI today.
Okay, now my mind is officially blown. But wasn't there more to it than just the technical side? The sources also mention a spiritual dimension to the golem's creation, right?
Right. The creation of the Golem wasn't just a technical feat. It was steeped in Kabbalistic traditions, a mystical branch of Judaism that emphasizes the power of language and symbols to connect with the divine.
So it's not just about manipulating matter, but also about tapping into a higher power.
Exactly. It was seen as a way for humans to tap into a higher power, to emulate the act of creation itself.
So it's like humans were trying to play God, creating life in their own image. Reminds me of the story of Adam in Genesis, formed from the earth and given life by the divine breath.
Precisely. That parallel is very much intentional. Both the Golem and Adam represent the ambition of humanity to create life. To understand and harness the forces that govern existence, it speaks to our deep-seated desire to comprehend and perhaps even transcend our own limitations.
That's a powerful connection.
But it also raises a lot of questions. If humans are creating life, even artificial life, where does the responsibility lie?
That's a huge question, and one that I think will be central to our discussion. That question of responsibility is at the heart of the Golem story, and it's one that we'll be exploring in more depth as we delve further into the parallels with AI.
For sure. Okay, so we've established that the Golem was a powerful creation brought to life through the mystical power of language. But here's where things get really interesting and maybe a little spooky.
Okay, I'm all ears. What are you thinking?
Well, I'm thinking about the recurring theme of the Golem's unpredictability, its potential to become a force of destruction, despite its intended purpose.
You mean like those classic sci-fi movies where robots gain sentience and turn against their creators? But did those ancient stories really have those anxieties about the golem?
Absolutely. There are numerous tales where things go wrong, sometimes hilariously so, other times with more dire consequences.
Oh, I've got to hear about this. Give me some examples. What kind of golem gone wrong scenarios are we talking about?
Well, one story tells of a golem tasked with fetching water for the house. It followed instructions too literally, without a clear stopping point,
Oh, no.
and ended up flooding the entire place.
Oh no. You can almost picture this giant clay figure diligently carrying buckets of water, completely oblivious to the chaos it's causing. It's funny, but also a little bit terrifying, right? Like,
Yeah.
even with simple tasks, things could quickly spiral out of control.
Right. And that speaks to a fundamental anxiety about creation.
Yeah.
The fear that our creations might not always behave as intended, that they could exceed our control and become forces we can no longer contain.
Okay, so waterworks gone wrong is one thing, but were there any stories where things got really bad, like truly destructive?
There's a rather unsettling tale of a golem who, after being rejected by a woman, goes on a rampage through the city, wreaking havoc and destruction.
Whoa, talk about a broken heart. But seriously, that story taps into some deep-seated fears about artificial beings developing emotions and potentially acting on them in ways we can't predict.
You're absolutely right. And it's a theme that's echoed in countless science fiction narratives. From Frankenstein's monster to HAL 9000 to the rogue robots of Westworld. The idea of a creation exceeding its creator's control, driven by emotions or a newfound sense of autonomy, is a potent and enduring one.
I see where you're going with this. So, we're starting to see how these ancient stories about golems resonate with some of our deepest anxieties about AI. But how far can we really take this analogy? Are these stories really relevant to the complex world of artificial intelligence?
That's a great question, and one that we'll be diving into next. But before we move on, I think it's crucial to emphasize one key point. The golem, for all its mythical trappings, embodies a concept that is central to AI, the creation of artificial beings, potentially capable of thinking for themselves.
So it's not just about the cool factor of these stories, but about the deeper questions they raise about the nature of creation, control, and what it means to be human in a world where we're creating beings that might rival our own intelligence.
Exactly. And those questions are more relevant now than ever before, as AI continues to evolve at an unprecedented pace.
I'm ready for more. This is getting really good.
All right, listeners, we're about to take a deep dive into the heart of the matter, how those golem stories from centuries past can actually inform our understanding of artificial intelligence. So buckle up, because it's about to get really meta.
It's amazing how the golem, this often depicted as a lumbering clay figure, actually prefigures a lot of the themes we grapple with in AI today.
Okay, yeah, break that down for me. How does this ancient myth connect with something as complex as artificial intelligence?
Well, the golem is, in many ways, one of the earliest examples of artificial intelligence in human imagination.
Okay.
It represents our age-old desire to create beings that can perform tasks, follow instructions, and perhaps even think for themselves.
So it's like the golem is a prototype, a blueprint for our AI aspirations.
Exactly. And the fact that the golem is such a recurring figure in our culture and literature, film, even video games, shows that this fascination with artificial creation has been with us for centuries.
That's so true. From classic literature like Frankenstein to modern movies like Ex Machina and Blade Runner, we're constantly exploring the possibilities and the potential dangers of creating artificial beings.
And those dangers are often front and center in golem lore. Remember those stories where the golem goes haywire?
Yeah.
They highlight a deep-seated fear that our creations might turn against us, a fear that is echoed in many AI narratives today.
Oh, totally. Think about movies like Westworld, where robots designed for human pleasure eventually rebel.
Right.
It's a classic tale of unintended consequences,
Yeah.
of creations exceeding their intended purpose.
Yeah.
And it definitely makes you think twice about all those sci-fi scenarios where AI takes over the world.
Precisely. And it's not just about robots going on rampages.
Right.
The anxieties around AI are often more nuanced than that. There's the fear of job displacement, of algorithms making biased decisions, of losing control over increasingly powerful technologies.
Right. It's not just about evil robots. It's about the very real ways AI could impact our lives, for better or for worse.
Exactly. And this is where those golem stories become so insightful. They remind us that the challenges we face with AI aren't entirely new. They're echoes of age-old questions about creation, control, and the limits of human ingenuity.
Okay, I'm starting to see the bigger picture here, but let's zoom in on some specific parallels between Golem lore and AI. What are some key takeaways that we can apply to our understanding of this rapidly evolving technology.
Well, one striking parallel is the inscription of Emet on the golem's forehead. Removing that word was the only way to deactivate the golem, to bring it back under control.
It's like a kill switch, right?
Yeah,
And that raises some serious questions about AI development.
for sure.
Do we have the means to switch off a superintelligent AI if things go wrong? Or are we creating something that could potentially escape our control?
That's a chilling thought, isn't it? And it's one that Golem stories force us to confront. The inscription of Emet is a powerful analogy for the control mechanisms, or lack thereof, that we're grappling with in AI development.
It's like we're playing with fire, aren't we? Creating something we might not fully understand or be able to control.
And this brings us to another key concept that's central to both Golem lore and AI discourse:
Okay.
the singularity.
Yes, the singularity. That hypothetical point in time when AI surpasses human intelligence. It's a concept that evokes both excitement and dread, depending on who you ask.
Precisely. And it's interesting to see how those diverging opinions are reflected in Golem stories.
Yeah.
Some tales portray the golem as a protector, a force for good, while others depict it as a harbinger of destruction. It mirrors our own uncertainty about the future of AI, our hopes and anxieties intertwined.
So these ancient stories, they're not just cautionary tales, they're also a way of exploring the full spectrum of possibilities.
Right.
Both the utopian and the dystopian that AI might bring.
Exactly. And it's a reminder that the future of AI isn't predetermined. It will be shaped by the choices we make, the values we prioritize, and the safeguards we put in place.
So it's not just about the tech itself, but about how we as a society choose to develop and use it.
Precisely. And that's why it's so important to have open and honest conversations about these issues, to engage with different perspectives, and to consider the ethical implications of our actions.
Open dialogue, ethical considerations, diverse perspectives, those sound like crucial ingredients for navigating the uncharted waters of AI development.
Yeah.
But there's another layer to this whole Golem and AI connection that I find particularly fascinating.
I think I know where you're going with this.
What is it?
The idea that both golems and AI act as mirrors, reflecting aspects of our own nature, desires, and fears.
Exactly. It's like we're projecting ourselves onto these creations, both the good and the bad. But what exactly does that tell us about ourselves?
Well, for one, the very act of creating an artificial being speaks to a deep-seated desire within humanity to understand and perhaps even transcend our own limitations. We see this in the golem's creation, and we see it in our pursuit of AI.
It's like we're trying to become gods ourselves, creating life in our own image. But as we've seen with the Golem, that comes with a whole lot of responsibility and potential for things to go terribly wrong.
Precisely. And that's where the anxieties come in. The fear that our creations will become too powerful, too intelligent, and slip beyond our control. It's a fear that speaks to our own insecurities and the potential consequences of our ambition.
It's like that classic story of Frankenstein's monster, right? The creator horrified by his own creation. But it goes deeper than that, doesn't it?
Yeah.
This fear of the Golem, of AI, is also a reflection of our own capacity for destruction.
You're absolutely right. We create these beings, imbue them with power, but we're also afraid of what they might do with that power. And that fear often stems from an awareness, conscious or not, of our own capacity for violence and destruction. It's like we're looking in a mirror and seeing not just our brilliance, but also our darkness.
It's a sobering thought, isn't it? But there's also this intriguing idea in one of the articles about humans themselves being golems, created in God's image.
Yeah.
It blurs the lines between creator and creation even further, wouldn't you say?
Yes, that Kabbalistic idea is particularly fascinating. It suggests that even we humans are not the ultimate creators, but rather creations ourselves, made in the image of a higher power. It adds a whole new layer of complexity to the discussion, questioning the very nature of creation and our role within it.
It's mind-blowing, really, when you think about it. Like, who are we to create life, artificial or otherwise, when we're just creations ourselves?
Yeah.
And if we're golems, does that mean we have the potential to rebel against our creator, too?
Mm.
I mean, talk about a philosophical rabbit hole.
And that's precisely the kind of thinking that these stories are meant to provoke. They're not just about golems or AI, but about the human condition itself, our place in the universe, and the responsibility that comes with our creative power.
So it's not just about the tech. It's about what that tech says about us, what it reveals about our hopes, anxieties, and ultimately our humanity. And it makes you wonder if we could create a golem or a truly sentient AI.
What would our responsibility be to it?
Exactly. Would it be just a tool, a servant? Or would it be something more? Would it be just a tool, a servant? Or would it be something more like, I don't know, a partner, a collaborator, maybe even a friend?
It's a question that takes us right back to the heart of the Golem story and its uncanny relevance to the age of AI. If we could create something that truly thinks, feels, experiences the world like we do, does it become just another tool, or does it deserve something more?
All right, it's not just about the cool tech or the potential benefits. It's about grappling with the ethical dilemmas, the responsibilities that come with creating something that could potentially rival or even surpass our own intelligence.
Exactly. And those dilemmas aren't going to magically disappear as AI gets more sophisticated. In fact, they're likely to become even more complex and challenging.
So what can we learn from the Golem's story, from those ancient anxieties and aspirations, as we navigate this uncharted territory of AI? I mean, it's a lot to take in.
Well, I think one of the most important takeaways is humility. The Golem story is a cautionary tale, reminding us that our creations can have unintended consequences, that we don't always have complete control over what we bring to the world. It's a reminder to approach AI development with a sense of awe and respect, recognizing that we're dealing with forces that could profoundly impact the future of humanity.
Humility check. What else? What other wisdom can we glean from these ancient tales?
A sense of responsibility. As creators, we have an obligation to consider the potential impact of our creations, both positive and negative. We need to move beyond the hype and the fear and engage in thoughtful, ethical development of AI, ensuring that it aligns with our values and serves the greater good.
Responsibility, got it. Anything else? Any other gems of wisdom to guide us on this AI journey?
And finally, a commitment to open and honest dialogue. The future of AI won't be decided in isolation. It will be shaped by conversations, collaborations, and a willingness to consider diverse perspectives. We need to bring ethicists, philosophers, social scientists, artists, and everyday citizens into the conversation because the impact of AI will touch every aspect of our lives.
Humility, responsibility, and dialogue. Those are powerful guiding principles, not just for AI developers, but for all of us as we enter this new era of intelligent machines. It's like a roadmap for navigating this uncharted territory.
Absolutely. And even though the golem is often portrayed as a creature of clay, bound by its limitations, there's another aspect of its story that I find incredibly inspiring.
Oh, really? What's that? I'm always up for a little inspiration.
Remember how the golem was brought to life through the power of the word emet, meaning truth? It suggests that even in the face of powerful creations, truth and understanding can serve as guiding principles.
It's like a reminder that knowledge, awareness, ethical considerations, these are crucial as we navigate the complexities of AI. We can't just blindly charge ahead. We need to be thoughtful, intentional, and always striving for a deeper understanding of what we're creating.
Exactly. We need to approach AI with a sense of wonder, yes, but also with a critical eye, constantly questioning, evaluating, and refining our approach.
It's a balancing act, isn't it? Embracing the possibilities while being mindful of the potential risks, like walking a tightrope between innovation and caution.
Precisely. And I think that's what makes this whole conversation so fascinating. The Golem, with its blend of power, mystery, and ethical dilemmas, offers us a lens through which to view the complexities of AI. It's a reminder that we're not just creating machines, we're shaping the future, and that future depends on the choices we make today.
And that brings us back to that lingering question. If we could create a golem or a truly sentient AI, what would our responsibility be to it? It's a question that goes beyond the technical, the practical, and delves into the very essence of what it means to be human in a world where we're creating beings that might one day challenge our understanding of life itself.
It's a question that deserves careful consideration, thoughtful debate, and perhaps even a touch of awe and reverence as we stand on the threshold of this brave new world.
This deep dive has been an incredible journey. From the mystical world of ancient myths to the cutting edge of AI, we've explored anxieties, aspirations, ethical dilemmas, and the very nature of creation itself. It's been a wild ride, and we hope you've enjoyed exploring these mind-bending connections as much as we have. Remember to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into the fascinating world of ideas. Until next time, keep questioning, keep exploring, and keep those minds wide open.